And now, without further ado, our guest of honor, Rabbi David Rhodes.
You know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a dentist. But practically, dentist, rabbi, what's the difference? Both professions, you gotta pull a lot of teeth. But truthfully, folks, where's the drum roll? Couple, there's supposed to be a drum roll over there. Truthfully, everybody asks, what's a nice Jewish rabbi from New York doing in South Bend? Well, it's like this. I was the head of a yeshiva for 15 years, and I had to deal with every sort of aspect with every single guy and all their shtick and all their issues. And I had to help make the food with my wife, and I had to clean the toilets. And after a while, I said, I need a sabbatical. So I gave my yeshiva over to one of my rabbis and put my fate in God's hands. Well, I said, what can I do with my life? Well, I could start charging for all the advice I gave for free. But like I said in my famous lecture, Prozac Nation, taking 15 minutes of advice and spreading it over 10 sessions at $150 a session did not exactly seem to me the right thing to do. So what was I going to do? As I was contemplating life and its mysteries and my shrinking bank account, Moshe Gubin calls up. Moshe Gubin's a student of mine for many years, as you heard. And he said, how would you like to start a center in South Bend? I said, South Bend? Hey, that's near Florida, isn't it? I just pictured myself, the sun, the swimming pools. Little did I know South Bend is near Chicago, and you all know what that means. But anyways, by the way, a little known fact which Moshe revealed to everyone, I was the one who first got Moshe his first job in the nursing home industry. Is it too late for a raise? Maybe. Okay, what can you do? Can't have everything. Anyway, I said to Moshe, I'm going to come here only on one condition. I could do whatever I want. And guess what? Moshe agreed. Little did he know at that time what he was getting into. So I went to meet the powers that be in the community, and of course they were skeptical at best, looking at me as the new kid on the block. But you know, the truth is, I'm used to this. I've been helping thousands of people throughout my career, and everybody tells me, Rabbi, how come nobody says like you? So I say to them, am I right or am I wrong? And they say, you're right, but how come nobody says like you? Well, it got to a point that I couldn't take it anymore. Now, this is a true story. So I decided to seek advice from the Grand Master in Tibet. So I hopped on a plane, and I went to Tibet, and I got to the mountain where the Grand Master was, and I put on my yak skin coat, took a lamp filled with yak butter, and I climbed that mountain until I came to a cave. Then I went into the cave, and sitting there on the floor, on a mat, surrounded by candles, was the Grand Master. So I said to him, Grand Master, I have a question for you. And he said, my son, ask your question. And I told him my whole story and everything that life was about and what I was going through. And he said to me in these words, my son, you are a revolutionary. Revolutionaries are not appreciated until 50 years after they're dead. So I said, thank you very much. And now I had to schlep back down that mountain. And the worst part is I ran out of yak butter. I still remember the first major event we had at the Torah Center. It was entitled Kabbalah and Juice Plus. Now, I gave the part on Kabbalah, and Cindy Cohen gave the part on Juice Plus. The only problem is right before the lecture, there was a major electrical outlet storm, and all the electricity went out. But thank God we had a whole bunch of scented candles that we lit. And you know what that lecture was like? It was a cross between a perfume factory and a seance. I'll never forget that lecture. I just want to let you all in on a little bit of a trade secret. If you add Kabbalah to any lecture, you're bound to draw a crowd, no matter what. Like my classic lecture, Kabbalah and Cheerios. Have you ever noticed as you bring that spoon of Cheerios up to your mouth, they're round? That represents a circle of life. Think about it, it's very deep. Or my favorite lecture, Kabbalah and Cholent. Now, this is very, very interesting. Some Jews are like beans. They're hard like beans. Some Jews are soft like potatoes. And some Jews are tasty like meat. And you put it all together, the diversity of the Jewish people, and you get a rainbow cholent. Yes, that was one of my classics. But the reality is, when Rabbi Lindau and I first started the Torah Center, we had a vision to create a Borders bookshop type of situation, that people could walk in and not feel they were in a shul or in a learning center. The only thing that didn't work out with that vision was the cappuccino machine and the Slurpee machine. But we still have time. Maybe one day we will get that. But I have discovered in all my years in South Bend, our most successful event was when we gave barbecued ribs. Now, Moshe, I think we should adjust for the budget to serve barbecued ribs in Kiddush on Shabbos. We will triple attendance. I don't know about for prayer services, but definitely for the Kiddush. So, I've had the privilege of studying with many intelligent and fascinating people in this community, and I'd like to talk about two of my close friends and fellow clergy, Pastor Mark Black from Hillcrest Baptist Church and Pastor David Schrader, our neighbor from Grace Methodist Church. Very fascinating how we met. I first met Pastor Black when we were at a Stand for Israel event, and me being who I am, went up to him and said, "Hey, Pastor, would you like to learn the Bible?" So he looked at me, who's this guy? Yes, I am a rabbi. Yes, would you like? So he took me up, and very adventurous of him, I would say so, Pastor. And he took me up on it. We've been learning ever since, and we've gained a tremendous amount from each other. But Pastor, I have to apologize to you that I have misled you. I am not your typical Orthodox rabbi. Now, with Pastor Schrader, the city was planning on putting in a bike lane on Twickenham, which would terribly congest our parking situation. So they had a town meeting, and they put the rabbis and the pastors at the corner, at the end of the table, the holy section, and we met there. And basically we said, if the city tries to pass this ordinance, we will be walking arm in arm down the street like in the civil rights movement, and we will stop them from putting a bike lane on Twickenham. Thank God the city did not do it. But we have been good friends ever since, and we can hope that the Torah Center will continue to be good neighbors with the Grace Methodists. Now comes the serious, somewhat serious part. First of all, I want to thank God, Hashem, for giving me the tremendous opportunity to be a part of this community and for allowing me to help people and to grow from interacting with people. It's been a tremendous experience for me. I want to thank Moshe and Tira. Moshe, I can't believe that you've done what you've done. Who in the right mind would just give me money and say, do what you want with it? He must have had special spiritual connections that told him to do that. I don't know. But it did pay off, and thank God we're all here today, and it is a tremendous thing what they both did, and they turned the dream into a reality. Rabbi Couple and Becky Lindau, what could I say? I've never had partners like you guys. You do everything. You let me just do my thing, and you get everything done. Tonight's event, I don't know how you did it, but thank God I didn't have to do it, and you did it, and it's a great situation. And I really want to thank you guys for everything. Rabbi Fred and Chaya Nebel, who are replacing me, you're perfect for the job. Unbelievable, learning with people, caring about people. And I want to say, most of all, you're non-controversial. That is the biggest asset of all. I want to thank the South Bend community for allowing me to come in here and do my shtick, even though some people may have had doubts about it. I had doubts myself, but it's all right. It's good to have doubts. But the bottom line is we've accomplished a great deal, and we really appreciate it. And finally, the woman who made this all possible, my dear wife, Chava. The Talmud tells us that Rabbi Akiva went away from his wife for an extended period of time to learn, and he grew in learning until he had 24,000 students. And he finally came home, and his wife came out. She hadn't seen him in years. And all these students said, who's this woman who's coming, this strange woman, we never saw her before? And Rabbi Akiva said, let her be. Everything that I have and everything that you have is because of her. And I could say definitely today, whatever I have, whatever the Torah Center did, is only because of my wife and her allowing me to do it. So Chava, thank you so much for everything. And thank you all for coming here tonight. It's been an honor and a privilege and a humbling experience. And may God bless you all with health, happiness, and success. And may you enjoy the rest of the dinner tonight. Thank you.